I stood no chance against a weapon of that power, magazine capacity, and seemingly automatic firing rate. While I prepared for my life to end in that moment, I prayed, I panicked, and I prayed some more. God must have heard my prayers because two brave men stopped the shooter moments before he would have inevitably found me. I saw my friend lying on the floor, bleeding out, knowing there was little to no chance of surviving that bullet wound. I had to tell him goodbye while I continued to fear for my life, not knowing if the attack was truly over. I can still hear the rapid firing of bullets today. It's a sound I may never forget. It's a sound I hope no one here or anywhere else in this country has to hear. I say all of this not because it's easy to do so, but because it's important to do so. I plead you all to appeal to your heart, your morality, and your humanity to do something about this issue. I want to thank President Biden for fighting to reinstate the assault weapons ban, and I sincerely hope you will support that reform so that we may try to prevent more people from needlessly dying at the hands of that weapon. Not only am I embarrassed for our country's international reputation of inaction on gun reform, but I am frankly disgusted. Between 1994 and 2004, America's mass shooting incidents dropped dramatically. Following the expiration of the assault weapons ban, which the Republican Party allowed to expire under President Bush, we now have an epidemic of domestic terrorism and violence. The time to do something is now. What needs to be done is placing the lives of children and adults above our unhealthy obsession with assault rifles. And you are some of the ones who can make a difference. Many in our government say nothing can be done. This epidemic of violence is just the price we must pay for freedom in this country. That is a lie. The facts speak for themselves, and your denial of this gun violence reality is not a policy proposal. I encourage you all to work together to save our children and adults, and in turn, save ourselves and the soul of our nation. To the politicians and activists who accuse LGBTQ people of grooming children and being abusers, shame on you. As leaders of our country, it is your obligation to represent all of us, not just the ones you happen to agree with. Hate speech turns into hate action, and actions based on hate almost took my life from me at 25 years old. I beg you all to consider your words before you speak them, for someone may use those words to justify action that may take someone's life. To my fellow LGBTQ community, events like this are designed to discourage us from speaking and living our truth. They are designed to scare us from living openly, courageously, and proudly. We must not succumb to fear. We must live prouder and louder than ever before. We must continue to be who we are, for who we are is exactly who we are meant to be. And to the children watching this, feeling you may not be like the other kids, I understand you and I see you. You deserve to be exactly who you are, no matter what anyone else has to say. In the words of my personal icon, Christina Aguilera, you are beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring you down, so don't let them bring you down today. To Chairman Maloney, I thank you for making this a priority. To the House Oversight Committee, thank you for hearing us today. I hope my truth can help usher America into its next and greatest chapter yet. My name is Michael Anderson. I am 25 years old. I am a proud gay man, and now I am a survivor of a mass shooting. I hope we can work together to end this carnage in our country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With that, we now recognize Mr. Haynes. You are now recognized for your testimony. Do you want to turn on your mic?
Thank you and good morning.
Morning.
My name is Matthew Haynes, and I am the founding owner of Club Q in Colorado Springs. I would first like to acknowledge and thank our local LGBTQ organizations, the City of Colorado Springs, the State of Colorado, and the national team at GLAAD, and so many other organizations for the efforts and support they have all provided to our community. Thank you, Chairman Maloney. Such an accurate and telling opening statement. And thank you, the House Oversight Committee, for creating a space and time to meet with us today. I know that we our Club Q community are in the thoughts and prayers of so many of you. Unfortunately, these thoughts and prayers alone are not saving lives. They are not changing the rhetoric of hate. None of us ever imagined that our little bar in Colorado Springs would be the target of the next hate crime. And I again repeat that we were targeted for the next hate crime. Last week, 305 charges were filed against the Club Q shooter. 48 of these charges were hate crime related. The number 305 alone graphically illustrates just how heinous this act was and how many people in this community were impacted. It also illustrates how much damage can be done when you take hate and access to military-style assault weapons. Putting those together is total carnage. We were lucky that night that the casualties were not much higher. When we opened 20 years ago, Colorado Springs was a very different place. I am proud to have remained in Colorado Springs over the years, even when we did not feel welcome. Club Q has been a home for the community for 20 years. We are proud to say it will once again become our home. One man full of hate will not destroy us. Now is a critical time for national, state, local community and religious leaders to drop the politics and work with our leaders and small business owners to support and affirm LGBTQ events, venues, communities, and most importantly, people. We need safe places like Club Q more than ever. And we need you, our leaders, to support and protect us. We have received hundreds of hate comments. I cannot read them all, but I'm going to read you a few examples. I woke up to the wonderful news that 5 mentally unstable faggots and lesbians and 18 injured. The only thing I'm mad about is that the faggots had courage to subdue the wonderful killer. I hope more shootings happen. Have a blessed day. The shooter was doing God's work. 5 less faggots, not enough. Those that stopped him are the devil. All gays should die. This is hate. It is not just us that is experiencing this. Our hero, Army veteran Rich Fierro, and his wife Jessica told me that they and their daughter have also been receiving similar hate messages. Finally, my husband and I had the honor to attend the White House ceremony for the signing of the Respect for Marriage Act yesterday. It was honestly the first joy and pride I have felt since these horrific events at Club Q. And while the protections for marriage, like my own, were signed into federal law, I could not help but reflect that 169 members of Congress voted against that bill. 169 of your colleagues, hiding behind excuses and schematics and other reasons, sent a message to me, and it was a clear message, that the entire community, to me and the entire community, that you do not respect my marriage. And through your inaction and your vote, you as a leader send the clear message it is okay not to respect the basic human rights of loving who you love. And it is okay to disrespect and not support our marriages. We are being slaughtered and dehumanized across this country in communities you took oaths to protect. LGBTQ issues are not political issues. They are not lifestyles. They are not beliefs. They are not choices. They are basic human rights. And so I ask you today, not simply, what are you doing to safeguard LGBTQ Americans, but rather, what are you or other leaders doing to make America unsafe for LGBTQ people? Club Q is grieving. We are rebuilding. We are fighting. Let's stop this from happening again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Slow, you are now recognized for your testimony. Slaw.
Thank you. My name is James Slaw, and I want to thank the House Oversight Committee and Chairwoman Carolyn Maloney for allowing me to share my story today. I want to start with my coming out story, as it involves my family, their support, and in the beginning, homophobia. My sister Charlene actually helped pave the way for me to come out, for me to feel safe. She was forced out of the closet by our mother and ultimately forced out of the house. When she was, our household went through a transformation. In the end, after a long process of learning and understanding, our mother chose her children and accepted who we are. It was this road that allowed me to feel safe enough at 24 years old to say, "Hey, Mom, I like guys," in a conversation. She recently passed away, but before she died, for the past 15 years, she became an advocate for our community. She chose love, and love will win in the end. And this goes especially in her religious circles who dehumanized us. The events of November 19th were a nightmare come true and one of my biggest fears. Right before midnight on the eve of the Transgender Day of Remembrance, my boyfriend John Carlos and I were about to leave Club Q when a shooter walked in. Several pops rang out, and I immediately felt a searing pain in my arm. I fell over on the ground knowing I had been shot in my right arm. It wasn't working, but I was able to call 911. I saw everyone on the ground, glass panes shattered, and blood running from my arm and chest where shrapnel had come through. John Carlos was next to me, shot in the leg, but thankfully alive. To my horror, my sister, Charlene, was bleeding out. She had been shot over 5 times. My heart rended as she tried to dial 911 with her good arm outstretched. I called out to her, and I heard no response. I don't want to imagine what may happen had the shooter not been taken down that night. 5 wonderful people were still murdered, and may we never forget their names. Ashley Paw, Raymond Green Vance, Daniel Aston, Derek Rump, and Kelly Loving. We miss each of you. Club Q was a second home and safe space, not just for me, but for all of us. Outside of these spaces, we are continually being dehumanized, marginalized, and targeted. The fear-based and hateful rhetoric surrounding the LGBTQ+ community, especially around trans individuals and drag performers, leads to violence. It incites violence. We shouldn't have to fear being shot when we go to our safe spaces, or anywhere for that matter. It was only after this violation of our safe space that I came to realize, though, we have a lot more love in this world. Before sunrise, we were already receiving messages from all over the world with affirmations of love. People who we have never met giving us their best wishes. A family friend immediately started a GoFundMe, and we've experienced a ton of support. When I left the hospital, I was brought to tears just by the memorial that had been created in front of the club, in front of my safe space. I want to thank the Colorado Victims Advocates who have been instrumental in our recovery and helping with funds, and of course the staff at GLAAD who have simply been amazing in helping me use my voice. Hate rhetoric from politicians, religious leaders, and media outlets is at the root of the attacks like at Club Q, and it needs to stop now. Rhetoric that makes people less than for being different. Rhetoric that threatens to silence what sports we can play, what bathrooms we can use, how we define our family, and who I can marry. Every American, especially those elected to positions of power, has a responsibility and a choice to use their words consciously. Hate starts with speech. The hateful rhetoric we've heard from elected leaders is the direct cause of the horrific shooting at Club Q. We need elected leaders to demonstrate language that reflects love and understanding, not hate and fear. I urge LGBTQ+ Americans and allies to join together today as one community. Hateful people want to drive us back into closets and to live our lives in fear, but we cannot be afraid. No bullets will stop us from being proud of who we are or will injure the support and love that exists in our community. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.